Hey everybody, welcome to Massimo Motivation. My name is Christopher Massimo. I'm the owner of Massimo Motivation LLC and the co-owner of Avanti Counseling and Consulting. I'm also a law student, and today I'm going to talk to you about the 5 things that you need to know about the law school learning curve you're considering going. So stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to Massimo Motivation. Again, my name is Chris from Massimo. These are the 5 things that you really need to know if you're planning on going to law school, and these are more like learning curve types of things that you may not anticipate being challenging. So I myself just finished my first semester at Texas A&M School of Law, Gig'em, and I wanted to share with you guys what I didn't know and what would have probably at least made me more prepared. I don't know if it would have helped in the sense that make it any easier, but it would have at least given me some opportunity to anticipate what was coming rather than showing up to class and being shook. So the very first thing you should know is you're going to be reading a lot. Now, when I say a lot, I mean actually like 2,500 pages or more in 3 months' time of really dense law material, mostly in the form of cases. So like you're not going to be reading a history book. In a sense, you're going to be reading about actual people who litigated actual things, and you're going to be taking concepts from those. And you will cover about 5 hours of reading a day for 2-hour classes. Some classes are 1.5 hours, some classes are 2 hours. But it'll accumulate for me, this semester, it accumulated for over 2,500 pages of material. So you do the math, 12 weeks, 2,500 pages. I'm in law school, not in engineering school, so I don't know what that is. But it's a lot, and it sucks. Like, it's really, really hard. To read all that material. Some of it's more interesting than others. For example, I actually started to fall in love with civil procedure, which is like super weird. Civil procedure is essentially how litigation happens. It's like the mechanism behind litigation. Whereas stuff like legislation and regulation wasn't really my cup of tea. But if it's not, you still have to read. So be ready to read every single day, including the weekends. Legit. The next thing you need to know, so number 2, is writing is different. So you have reading and you have writing. And the writing, everything that you know right now is wrong. They're going to tell you that it's wrong. They're going to tell you that all your elementary school teachers were wrong. They're going to tell you all your junior high and high school and college professors / teachers were wrong. It's all wrong. And you need to learn. Every single punctuation mark matters. Every single word matters. A passive voice matters. And they will rip your papers apart if they are bad. So go in just with the understanding that you have to learn to rewrite, and that's okay. So like there's not much you can do about that right now, obviously, but just know when you get there, they're going to teach you a brand new way of writing, be susceptible to that, and be meticulous. I had spent on some of my papers 40, 50 hours writing and editing between reviewing a case, finding the analogies that I wanted, and editing my paper. I mean, I would leave, I'm not exaggerating, I would probably leave 12 hours just to read it over and over and over and over again to edit it and reformat it. That's just the editing part. That's not even the writing part. And the last thing I'll say about writing is there's hard word limits. That's right, limits. Most of the time you're probably accustomed to writing more or like hating the fact you have to write a 20-page paper. They're going to give you word limits and it's going to suck. The first draft I did of my last paper was over 20 pages in length. It was about 1,000 words over what it needed to be. And the hardest part about doing that paper was minimizing it. So writing is different. The third thing I'll say is that finals are the only thing that really matters. So your grades will probably be between 70% and 90% finals. You don't really get a lot of opportunities along the way to learn if you're learning, to practice or to engage with like how much you've actually accumulated. You're just kind of going from one thing to the next, from one class to the next, and they don't wait for you to learn. So you won't really know if you figured out what you were doing until the very end when you're sitting at a 4-hour exam writing, I wrote 24 pages on one of my finals in 3 hours, single spaced. Like, that's when you know if you know it or you don't know it. So be ready to really focus on learning and understanding because they're not going to give you opportunities to see if you actually did that on their end. The fourth thing, classes require engagement. You will be cold called. You will stand up for anywhere between 5 and 45 minutes in length in front of a lot of people. So my classes were about 60 people, and depending on the class, if it's civil procedure, some people would stand for 20 minutes, other people for 45. If it was leg reg, you could be there for 5 minutes to 15 minutes. It depends on the professor and how they like to do their cold calls, but you will be cold called, you will stand up, and you will have to not sound dumb in front of a lot of really smart people. Now, in my experience, the professors, and this is not necessarily a learning curve, but hopefully it puts some of your anxiety at ease. They're nice about it. Like, they're going to want to make you get stumped and look stupid, but they're going to be nice about it. At least that was my experience. So know going in that you have to be prepared for class. There's no, like, I didn't read, oopsie. If you get called and you fail, not only will you look bad, but sometimes like 10% of your grade will be based on class participation, and you'll get a 0. So be ready. The last thing, and number 5, is if you get behind, you're dead. So like, don't do that, right? So this isn't undergrad or grad school. I went to undergrad at Baylor. I got my master's in clinical mental health counseling, and undergrad and grad school are different in how classes are structured in terms of like your time and when you can do your assignments. Law school it's just its own thing. Like you cannot go to class unprepared, and you cannot get behind. Like, if you're behind just a chapter, you're a day behind. So let me give you an example. Like, you'll read for 5 hours for a class on Monday. By Wednesday, you're on totally different material, unrelated sometimes to the material you covered on Monday. So you either got that during that period of time or you didn't, and the professor's not going to go over it again. There's no repeat day on the same material. Brand new cases, brand new info, you either get it or you don't. So I hope this was helpful for you. My experience, my first semester in law school it was a lot, but it wasn't something I wasn't capable of doing, so long as you have the right work ethic and you have the right schedule, right? You cannot show up for class unprepared. You have to do your reading. It's a lot of reading. Just accept it. Like, be okay with the fact you're going to be reading a lot. And when you write, be meticulous. So it's a lot of stuff you may not want to do, but it's doable. The learning curve with law school isn't necessary. You're smart if you get into law school. It's not necessarily getting smarter. It's learning to be prepared and to be a professional in an academic setting. That's the short version. If you can do that, you can handle law school. So guys, I hope this was helpful for you. If you want more law school videos, if you want more videos on law, I'm not a lawyer, but if you want my interpretations of some things on law, I'd be happy to do that. It's not legal advice, obviously. But leave a comment below if there's something in particular that you would like, or if there's something about my law school experience that you would like for me to share as I go. Like I said, I just finished my first semester, and there's a lot to come still. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff, guys. And remember, mind, muscle, maximum.